Alright guys, so I've been racking my brain a little bit about where to go next from here because we've covered a lot of things from the top and attacking from the top and attacking from the guard. And I think that generally speaking the bottom four quarters could be a rather, or top four quarters could be a rather difficult position to talk about and practice without a partner. So I'm not going to quite go there right now. One thing that yeah, I'm not even gonna go there either because again, there are some really great things that I can show you guys, and maybe tomorrow or the next day when Jet's home, we can go ahead and we'll do some attacks and sweeps from the guard that involve what do you do when somebody stands up, because there's a reason that people stand. That's how you can escape, and there are some attacks and sweeps that you can do from that. There's a lot of positions. Tarzan drill is a great one thing to be working on right now. And you can do that with the chair. So I can show you guys with Jet, and then I can show you guys how to do it with the chair, or if you have two vertical posts that are roughly, a person's legs like width apart that you guys can practice with. But for right now, I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna start introducing you guys. I know I think I did cover this already a little bit, but starting to talk about what happens when you get stuck on the bottom, because it happens, right? So the first thing about being on the bottom in the first place is that you see that, I'm keeping my feet a little bit apart. You guys can see I'm going about shoulder width apart here. I'm keeping my toes as close to my butt as I possibly can, right? And the reason for that is that's what's going to give me my bridges and whatnot. And the thing is, and we mentioned this before, if I'm here, right, it's really hard for me to start moving around on the mat. So one of the reasons why I've got my legs up is so that I can start to bridge and start to move, and I can start to shrimp out and that type of thing. So that's really, really important. The other thing, guys, is that I'm right here. I've got my hands in this kind of prayer position. My elbows are tucked in tight to my side, and my hands are right here. Some people will be here, right? So they're like pretending like they're getting choked or whatever, because they might be very soon. They might be here, but generally I kind of prefer this, like I'm holding on to my orange. Now, again, something that Hagen Machado does say, and this is secondhand information because my coach mentions it a lot, which is that imagine on your chest there's an orange, and if somebody is squeezing that orange, then you are in a very losing position. So when I'm having my guard passed, right? Somebody has pinned my leg down to the side and they are reaching for that head control. My first defense against getting stuck in side control is that head control, right? And so I really want to be kind of more blocking at the bicep, right? Or towards maybe it's more, maybe a little bit of wrist, but mostly like kind of the blocking that bicep, because I don't want him to underhook my head. Now, one thing that Carlos Machado had shown me, which was that if you are able to get the wrist and you keep it between their legs, right? Now they're not going to be able to establish that that head control. And what you can kind of do with that, because if you're trying to pass somebody's guard and they've got your arm and they're passing between your legs, like you notice when I stretch the arm down and start really pushing that, my shoulder's going to drop, right? And again, we've talked about the basic understanding of sweeps is that, if I'm a table and I take a leg away and I drop this side a little bit, I put a vase or something on there, I'm going to fall over, right? So when somebody's passing my guard, if I can get that wrist, I might go 2-on-1 and hold their wrist between their legs. And that's going to stop them from being able to get their initial control. It's going to, because you're twisting their body in that direction, it's going to make it hard for them to do their other pass and go into a switch base, right? So if I'm passing someone's guard, right, and maybe they're blocking my bicep or whatever, and I've got this knee cut here, I might, instead of reaching with this hand, I might reach this hand underneath their elbow on this side, and then I might slide this leg through, right, and end up in kind of that scarf or switch base position, and I just slide through to get there. So that is an option. That is something that can happen, and so, but again, if somebody's holding my arm here, I'm going to have a hard time getting in that position. So by taking someone's wrist and putting it between their legs, you're preventing them from being able to get the initial contact that they have. Now from here, I'm going to start trying to create some distance here. Now if I switch to this grip, this hand here, and hold that one out and keeping my arm locked out, I could potentially start to reach around, right, grab, boom, and dump them down, and be able to start taking a side control position of my own, right? Again, this is more theoretical than necessarily do this thing, right? But that is part of the concept. Now, what most people do when somebody's trying to pass their guard is actually try to retain the guard and get back to the guard. So, if somebody's got this leg stapled out, I'm trying to avoid that head control, and as much as I can, I'm going to be moving myself away. This is creating space, because I don't want this person on top of me. I don't want him crushing my orange. And if I can get this bottom leg that they have stapled free, I can maybe start to bring it back underneath their body and close back up and go back into the guard, right? So that's kind of your first thing, guys, is that the first way that you're going to escape a side control position is going to be to not let somebody establish a side control position. And that sounds dumb, maybe, but it's true, because anybody who's actually rolled for a long time will know that the moment that you get stuck into that side control position, it's a lot of work to get out. But before somebody can put their weight on you, before they can establish that control, you're not taking that weight. It's going to take you a lot less energy to escape that position or before it even is established. Does that make sense? So that's going to be your first thing I'm going to tell you to do, guys, is go ahead and try to prevent side control from being established in the first place. It is one of your absolute first and strongest defense. All right, guys, next one.